In today's world of market volatility and uncertainty, your retirement plans need to be front and center. With ever-changing tax laws, healthcare worries, and an unpredictable stock market, don't overlook the vulnerability in your retirement planning. Protecting your family and estate will be difficult with shifting policies in Washington. It's more important than ever to keep an eye on retirement.
Hello and welcome in to Eye on Retirement, the weekly show that keeps you in the know about all things retirement. I'm your host, Rick Everett, along with a full complement of panelists to include Larry Kloefkorn, a founding partner and investment advisor with Market Advisory Group, Joshua Cicora, the lead CPA with Market Tax Services, Cory Hiebert, one of our lead Medicare advisors with Market Medicare Advisors, and Gerald Eidelman, estate planning attorney with Eidelman Law Firm. Gentlemen, welcome in. Thanks for being with us in this show. Larry, market volatility can sure make people look at things differently, yes?
Yes, it certainly can. All it takes is a turbulent run, especially after a bull market, and few months to motivate many retirements in that turbulence that are nearing retirement as well. And I could give hundreds of examples of conversations that I've had with people as they approach, they're on the brink of retirement, and all this market turbulence just has them almost paralyzed because this isn't what they planned for. They had planned for 40 years to have this nest egg ready for them to use. And more than anything, they had dreams that they wanted to pursue throughout retirement. And so we found that the most important thing is that they be positioned so they can turn on a dime when the market begins to change behavior. They realize during that, those hard decisions, and sometimes we refer to it as crossing the river into retirement. And, we oftentimes have seen long bull runs. In fact, the one that we had prior to the pandemic was the longest bull run in history. And when you start to see, first of all, you become complacent and thinking that, this bull run's just going to run forever. And then that market volatility kicks in, and all of a sudden we find that people who thought and believed they were a long-term investor, they were until they had short-term losses. And all of a sudden they need help. And oftentimes I ask the question, do you want low risk, low volatility, and a high probability of success? Or stay with high risk, high volatility, and a low probability of success? It's never been more important to work with a financial advisor that can offer a full array of investments and planning tools, in fact, to meet your short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. That array can have a combination of no loss, limited loss, moderate loss, with ample opportunity for growth and sustainability. But the financial advisor is not enough, is it, Rick?
No. In fact, hanging on to your hard-earned savings involves a complete team who can address the many landmines, whether they're financial landmines, tax planning, estate planning, or Medicare advising. Joshua Cicora, our lead CPA with Market Tax Services. Turbulent markets have retirees or those nearing retirement more on edge. I'd imagine when you meet with clients for the first time and you unearth tax money that people could have either worked around or sheltered the client from, it must create a peace of mind. Can you share with us an example of an initial consultation where you helped a client avoid major tax consequences?
Yeah, a lot of times we'll see this, and it really kind of falls out into one of two buckets, especially with people who self-prepare their return. When there's difference between how the state taxes handle a situation and how federal taxes handle the situation, people often get lost because it's not like there's this nice map that shows, okay, well, if you have this, this is how your state treats it. You've got to be familiar with the state tax situation to report those appropriately. So for example, a lot of government pensions, whether it's with the state or the US government, they get special tax treatment at the state level. But all the forms you get in the mail are based on the federal tax treatment. So then it's easy to pay taxes on dollars you don't have to pay taxes on. And so when we sit down in these conference room meetings and I start flipping through the return and talking about what they have going on, time and time again, people are paying taxes on dollars they didn't know they needed to pay tax on. And people get excited when they find they're getting money back that they didn't even know to expect. And that's really fun to get to share with people and to highlight where I can come in and help them out in ways they weren't even expecting.
And those rules and regulations are changing constantly, no?
Yeah, they change all the time. I mean, we pay attention to the news and they'll talk about, the government's changing the tax treatment for this and they're putting this new tax law in. And unless you're paying attention to how these things are moving, it's easy to let something slip you by that you weren't ready to catch.
You shared with me prior to us going on air about a client that came in and had a rental property, and had you not been there to catch something, it could have ended up costing them significant tax dollars.
That's right. That's right. So people will want to talk about, especially in these turbulent times, of diversifying their portfolio. And a lot of times that will lead into rental real estate. And people do a great job. They'll report, okay, I got this much in tax revenue, or rental revenue. I paid out, property taxes and insurance, this, that, and the other thing, because they see it coming out of their checkbook, right? But there can be non-cash expenses they don't know to pick up, like depreciating a property. And it'll really bite them when they go to sell it and they have to pay tax on benefits they never received. And so I can help clients here. When we sit down and have these conversations, I'll be able to quickly see that they're not picking up these non-cash expenses and then help them recapture them. And so then when we file their next return, they're getting thousands of dollars of benefits they didn't know to expect, and it'll significantly reduce how much tax they're paying this year. Or even, because I can work with Larry, we can use that knowledge to then make deliberate tax moves to improve their investment situation, because we have that there to offset.
And Larry, an investment advisor is not supposed to be giving tax advice, are they?
That's right. We're very limited in any type of tax matters conversations that we have. In fact, if you have an advisor who's giving you tax advice and they're not licensed to do so, then you need to be concerned, and you need to know that you need to be receiving actual tax advice from someone who's qualified to give it. Now, I like to tell the story about, for years we felt bound by that, and I always tried to be very careful not to cross that line. One day we had an epiphany. Why don't we get a CPA, a tax advisor that could come in and talk and give that advice on these intricate cases?
Do you have a whole team going to work for you when it comes to planning your retirement? If not, what critical piece could you be missing that could cost you money? At Market Advisory Group, we approach retirement with a holistic approach, from the financial planning to tax planning, Medicare advising, and estate planning. And we do it all under one roof for your convenience. If you'd like to set up a complimentary, no-obligation consultation, our staff are standing by right now to take your calls at 316-252-8707. Again, 316-252-8707. Or I invite you to go online at ionretirement.com. There you can catch past episodes or set up a complimentary, no-obligation consultation on your own. We'll be back with more Eye on Retirement right after this.
When people work with Market Advisor Group, they get a feel of sense of family. There's a lot of relationships that are made and going on in this conference room, and we really take a lot of pride in that and a lot of satisfaction in that.
Every client we work with, we make a custom-made plan to fit them and help reach their goals in life. And then another thing that makes us unique is we want to meet quarterly with our clients and have reviews.
Market Advisory Group, we have a process, and the process we take people through is first to understand what they have, understand who they are, and then we put together an income plan for them and show them how they can look forward to retirement and not look, though retirement is going to be a stressful time. It needs to be a stress-free time.
A few unique features of working with Market Advisor Group is holistic in-house financial consultants. We've got an in-house CPA, Joshua, an in-house estate planning attorney, Gerald, an in-house Medicare advisor, Bill. We rely on all of those professionals for, again, additional service within our consultative process, making sure that we've got the advice and the expertise behind the recommendations that we make.
You know, as an advisor, I'm not there to sell them one way or the other. I'm there to educate them, to let them know what their choices are. Then I try to help them make the right choice where they can save money and feel confident in their decision.
Absolutely the best part of my job is getting a stack of paperwork from somebody and they don't know what to do, and then I can turn around and give them back a tax return, but also to be able to explain what they can do next year that will give them a better answer than what they had this year.
When we've got clients that are calling and they need to help out a child or need to help out a grandchild or need to help themselves out and they're in a situation they didn't expect to be in, I really relish the opportunity to help them through that, help them make the educated decisions in somewhat stressful situations, because a lot of folks don't have that type of counsel.
We meet with so many people one-on-one in this office that don't ever end up becoming a customer or doing business with us, and that's okay. But when they leave our office, we know that we've helped them either get some answers to some of the questions they had or get some clarity on maybe their own path.
But one of the things that we hear all the time is, I wish I would have met you guys 10 years ago, because how much further could I be down the road? Well, Johnny Appleseed said, you know, when's the best time to plant a tree? 10 years ago. When's the second best time? Today. And so if we can help people today going forward, that just brings an incredible amount of comfort and excitement for us to come to work every day.
Hi, and welcome back into Eye on Retirement. Larry Kloefkorn, financial advisor with Market Advisory Group. It's often said that hindsight is 20/20. And when people are in retirement and you're advising them, what are some of the things that people look back on financially that they wish they would have done differently?
Yeah, you know what? A recent survey showed number one thing is they wish they would have saved more money, okay? And put back for retirement, change their lifestyle while they're working. But another one that is near the top and is one of the greatest regrets of older Americans in a recent survey is that they did not invest more in lifetime payouts. Now, the reason many people didn't is because the trade-off presented to them was giving up control of the money that was used for the payout. Oftentimes, that's what the employer plan and their pension or payout does, is you give up control. And part of the reason that the control issue is relevant and important thing to consider is that you may be disinheriting your children. Okay. Now, oftentimes they have a choice in their pension, if they choose the payout, to add a survivor benefit of some sort, but it doesn't go beyond that. Oftentimes people, they look at, I need the biggest amount we can have, so then they don't even choose a spousal option. And that makes it, difficult, and if you have the opportunity to choose a lump sum payout, and when I'm talking about a lump sum payout, I'm not talking about taking the cash and all of a sudden having this big tax bomb. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about maybe the best thing for you is to do a rollover, a tax-free rollover. Joshua guides us on this and to make sure that it's done appropriately and given the best overall advice. If you have that right team working for you, the overall comprehensive income plan can benefit you greatly. Now, it does take a team to build that overall comprehensive income plan. But the goal of it is to make your money work for you. You want something where your money is going to put you in a stronger position and add longevity, because people are living longer, and living longer is a risk multiplier. So it's very important that you plan for all possible circumstances that could happen. And making a plan that works for your specific circumstances is the most important thing. And as kind of our mantra is to make one that fits for you. You know, we oftentimes talk about the thumbprint approach, or another one would be, it needs to fit you like a glove. And what I call this is retirement assurance.
Most usually, additional expertise is helpful, if not essential, as far as having the optimum retirement that you can have. In the prior segment, talking about the team, we heard from Joshua with Market Tax Services how a tax landmine was diffused, if you will. Cory Hiebert with Market Medicare Advisors, you shared with me about clients seeking Medicare advice who were do-it-yourselfers that you were able to guide on to a much more cost-effective and appropriate path when it comes to Medicare. Give us an example of someone you put on a more suitable plan or saved them unnecessary expense that as a do-it-yourselfer, they didn't know they could do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really funny because just coming out of open enrollment season, I had a case where this just happened. I had a gal come in and she was very adamant right from the beginning. Cory, I want to come and I want to talk to you about Medicare. I've already made my decisions. I've picked out my plan. I do not want to talk to you about Medicare Advantage plans. Absolutely not. No way. And I said, awesome, that's totally fine. If you think you're comfortable in the supplement route, that's definitely something we can look at and make sure you're in a good spot. But I asked, why are you not interested in the Advantage plan? And she said, I do not want to worry about networks of doctors. And I said, that is a totally valid complaint. And I understand why you chose to go with the supplement. So let's take a look at it. I said, why did you pick this supplement? It was from a brand name company that she had heard of before, and she had used them for her employer's benefits. Well, there was one very key word on her supplement that she didn't know what it meant, and it was the word select. She had picked a select supplemental plan. So her one fear going on to Medicare was networks. And Medicare supplements have a select option that limits you to the hospitals that you can visit. So she had actually ended up stumbling into the one thing that she feared when it came to Medicare. We were actually able to find a different supplemental company that was less premium and provided nationwide access to any doctor that accepts Medicare A and B, which is over 95% nationwide. So she had a lot of the correct facts. She knew she didn't want an Advantage plan because she did not want to deal with networks of doctors. But she didn't have the whole picture, and she didn't read all of the fine detail and stumbled into a mistake. Luckily, we were able to catch it and get it fixed.
And I think there are people out there that hear about Medicare open enrollment and just make the assumption that that's the only time they can do anything as far as adjusting their supplements, which is not the case, correct?
Yeah, so Medicare open enrollment season is designed to adjust Medicare Advantage plans and prescription drug plans. Now, for a Medicare supplement plan, you are able to switch those any day of the week, any time of the year, if you can go through underwriting, where the insurance company will look at your previous medical history and ask you questions about your health.
Retirement is a team sport. Do you have a whole team working for you? At Market Advisory Group, we practice the holistic approach to retirement planning, from the financial aspects to tax planning, estate planning, and Medicare advising, and we do it all under one roof for your convenience. If you'd like to set up a complimentary, no obligation consultation, operators are standing by right now to take your calls at 316-252-8707. And please check out our website at ionretirement.com. We'll be back with more Ion Retirement right after this.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. This is a $999 value that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
Hi, and welcome back into the final segment of this episode of Ion Retirement. Larry Kloefkorn, Financial Advisor with Market Advisory Group. No two snowflakes or thumbprints are the same. You mentioned a thumbprint in the prior segment. Does that philosophy hold true for clients that you work with?
It does, very much so. In fact, had a circumstance that is quite common actually, but just 2 days ago, I had a first meeting with two different couples, and one was in the morning, and their circumstances were completely different than the ones that I met with in the afternoon. And I can't imagine advisors that approach building a plan and advising people with just limited options and trying to make them fit into that advisor's role. I found it is very useful when we approach it with that thumbprint mentality. And, you know, my son-in-law is a twin, identical twin. Their DNA is the same, but their thumbprints are different. Mm-hmm. And so that's why it is so important that we approach things that meet the needs of the individual. And it's also why it's important to have the team where we can pull in a particular member that needs, that the particular clients that I'm sitting in front of need, not someone that they don't need but is just coming in to talk. We bring in the ones that really need to address their particular plan.
Gerald Eidelman with Eidelman Law Firm, you're one of those team members that gets brought in often for estate planning. Where a trust might be the ideal vehicle for one estate plan, it could be the exact wrong scenario for someone else. What are some of the about-to-be errors that you've discovered from do-it-yourselfers when they've attempted on their own or gone online to create a will or some other estate plan?
Yeah, one of the things people don't realize is that when they're meeting with me, I am having a conversation with them and querying different issues that come up. People sometimes have issues in their life that they're not aware that will cause any difference to their estate plan. And so part of my job is to be able to pull that out. And that's something that people who do it yourself cannot, because if you're using a program, you're using something online, you're dealing with a computerized service. And basically it has so many questions and you can answer so many things. It won't ask you new information that they might not know, and you might not disclose it unless I'm digging at it when I'm meeting with them. So it's a really significant problem. People who come to me and bring me these pre-made plans, I constantly find holes in the sense that they're not covering all of their needs. They have goals, they have aspirations, and they're not meeting them because they don't know that they have these goals, and they don't know that they take certain estate plan alternatives to be able to get there. So a lot of times I tell people that it's very important to sit down with me or with another professional who does estate planning alone. It's very important to differentiate between what's good for one person and what's good for the other one. There's always difference in people's circumstances. There's blended marriages that require different planning. There's people who want to take care of their grandchildren and skip the kids. There's all of these different facets of estate plan that require an actual meeting and an actual investigation, basically, into their circumstance, into their life, and from that pick out what's best for their plan. And a lot of times this is something that won't happen going with your do-it-yourself. People pick up, worst part is people sometimes just type out estate plan and they pick up whatever is on the web. Well, clearly that's going to give you a lot of information, a lot of plans, a lot of different samples. The problem is in some cases, they might not even work for your estate. There's difference between states as to how they deal with certain things, and just picking something random out and copying it out is very dangerous. And obviously, clearly, if you don't understand all the ramification of what you're trying to make, then you're not going to be able to pick a plan that's going to work for you.
Just like with the investment aspect of planning for retirement, one size fits all doesn't work with the estate planning or the tax planning for that matter. At Market Advisory Group, we practice the holistic approach to retirement planning, from the financial aspect to the tax planning to Medicare advising and estate planning, and we do it all under one roof for your convenience. Operators are standing by to set up a complimentary no-obligation consultation with you right now at 316-252-8707. That's all the time we have this week. I'm Rick Everett, reminding you that we're here to keep an eye on retirement.
This broadcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and not necessarily those of foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific investment opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns is not indicative of future results. Each individual investor situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Foundations only transacts business in the states where it is registered or is excluded or exempt from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by security regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. Legal services are offered by Eidelman Law Firm. Tax services offered by Market Tax Services. Market Advisory Group does not provide legal or tax advice. Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.